Welcome to this short demo on how to use the new Gold Standard SDG Impact tools. Hopefully you'll be able to see my screen okay. The tool has been created to help developers more efficiently monitor, quantify and verify a project's contributions to the Sustainable Development Goals. We're now undertaking a 60-day piloting process to gain feedback from you guys, so project developers, on how this tool works and any improvements which can be made. So as you can see, currently the tool is in Excel. In the next phase, we'll look to try and digitalize this to make this tool online so it's more streamlined and easier to use. So on opening the tool, you'll see these pages. You'll notice that there's several tabs along the bottom of the screen. The tabs highlighted in red are for background information only. They include information that supports the tool, including the list of indicators, project types, and links to resources, and can be used at any time to provide more information or as a source of reference. The tab entitled BA stands for Background Assessment and provides more in-depth information on these indicators and how they are applied. And then next to that, you have a Mapping tab. So this tab actually provides the functionality for the SDG tool, but it also provides a good snapshot of the indicators per project type. So then if we move across the bottom here, we have a feedback tab. So we've provided a feedback tab as a template that enables you to give us comments and suggestions for this tool in a simple and structured way. So it's split into 4 different sections. So you have a section here for general comments. So for example, on the structure or the functionality of the tool. And then you have a section on specific comments on the tool content. So this could include feedback on the clarity or the usability of a specific cell or sheet or tab. Then we have suggestions for new monitoring indicators in this section here. So currently the tool focuses on project types applicable under the gold standard for the global goals. This is an ever-evolving process. So if you have any suggestions for other indicators, please do not hesitate to let us know with supporting literature if possible. And then the final section here is for any other feedback or comments. So for example, improvements we could consider for the next iteration or what additional guidelines would help support you. Up in this top left-hand section here, we've got some additional notes. So if you'd like a one-on-one demo of this tool, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. The contact that we have is Pranav Sharma. He's managing this whole process, so he's the main contact in terms of the SDG tools. So any feedback, any queries, any questions for one-on-ones, he's your guy. And you can see his email address is located up in this section here, if you can see. To support this tool, we would like to create some use cases to be included in the guidance document. So we're therefore looking for real data and projects willing to participate in these case studies. If you would like to gain more visibility for your project and are happy to be included as a use case, then please do not hesitate to let us know. Okay, so if we move across to the next tab, we've got a tab called README. So the README tab provides brief instructions for how to use this tool. This should be read before filling out the impact assessment. We also have an example sheet here. So this is an impact assessment fully filled out, and this has been included to provide a source of reference for how this assessment should be completed. So you can use it to cross-reference what should be filled into each different cells. And then the main tab is the tab called Impact Assessment. So this is where all the magic happens. So users only need to fill in the cells that are coloured light grey, like this bit here, or dark grey drop-down boxes with white text. Essentially, there are 5 steps which have been clearly marked to help guide you through this process. You can see these down that side there. So step 0, so this is key project information. So this is a manual input to note the key project information. So this includes information like project ID, the current project status, crediting period, etc. Step 1 is where you select the project type. This is pulled from a drop-down box. you can see there's some links here on the side. So this takes you back to those background tabs I talked about earlier, where you can find more information on the project types, the SDGs, and the categories available. Step 2 is where you pick the preferred method for monitoring impact from the drop-down list provided. So if we click on this drop-down list, you can see that there's 2 options. You can do it by impact category or by SDG. So impact category is useful for all those, is useful for project developers who have a clear idea of the project and the impacts that they want to achieve. So for instance, if you wanted to look at air quality or if you wanted to look at employment, you can pick these from this drop-down list. So this list is similar to the current content that we have in the Gold Standard for the Global Goals documentation. The other option is by SDG. So if I click on this bit here, you can see by SDG. So this method may be more relevant for those who are familiar with the Sustainable Development Goals and want to assess impact to specific SDGs. So these are listed as per the 17 SDGs available under the Global Goals. So you can see that here. Just to note that the same approach or method, so by category or by SDG, should be applied across all parameters being assessed to ensure consistency in monitoring. Okay, so now we're on to step 3. So step 3 is where you select the relevant monitoring indicators. So you can do that again from a pre-specified drop-down list. So this is based on the category or the SDG selected previously. The tool then automatically populates the relevant list of default monitoring indicators. You can then choose the indicator you would like to monitor from this list. For instance, we could have total number of jobs. If the cell appears blank, so if it appears like so, please move up and down just to make sure that you locate the list. So sometimes just because of Excel, then this can show up blank, but the list is already there. However, if an indicator is not relevant for a project, there will not be a monitoring indicator assigned, so that the list will actually be blank. You can then repeat this step until you have all the indicators you'd like to assess included in this document. So you can see the sections along the side here. So currently the tool provides space for a maximum of 10 indicators, but please do not hesitate to let us know if you think this should be extended to more. It's also worth noting here, the small markers, if you can see them here, these are set up to help guide you through this document. So the arrows show you where you need to go next, and they enable you to pick the correct drop-down box from the correct row. So you can see here. If, for example, you collect a drop-down box from an incorrect row, step 4 won't populate with anything. So moving on to step 4, read the guidelines to design a monitoring and reporting plan for selected indicators. So this provides you with all the guidelines, and the guidelines provide a snapshot of relevant impact indicators, SDGs, SDG targets, the purpose of the indicator, how assessment and monitoring should be conducted, limitations associated with the parameter, for example, minimum monitoring requirements where applicable. It also provides other reference sources for further details that could be useful for decision making. If you'd like more in-depth information on the guidance, the calculation and other considerations, you can see this link here on the left-hand side. So this takes you back to those background assessment tabs with all this information and any additional links to resources. And then the final step is step 5. So this is where you complete the project level assessment to quantify the sustainable development contributions for a selected monitoring indicator. So this is an area where you input the data manually. This is where the example sheet could come in handy, because you could use that as the cross-reference to what should be filled in within these fields. So once this tool has been completely filled in, please submit this to us alongside any supporting project documentation and any feedback you may have. We'd like to thank you for your time and your support, And if you have any further questions or queries, please do not hesitate to contact us. I'm going to just take you back to this phone, Pranav, and his details are on this page here. Thank you again. Bye-bye.